right, everybody, we are going to make pretzels today. How cool is that going to be? So I am going to start with the first thing, and that is putting a yeast into warm water. So let's get that going. All right, I don't know if you guys can see this. The first step is getting your water to be above 100 degrees. Right now I got about 100 and a little bit cooler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this out, restart it, but you want to get close to 110 before you put your yeast in. Okay, so went a little bit high, it's 118. I'm going to let that kind of cool down before I add the yeast. I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar to give the yeast a little bit of a head start. All right, so I put in a half a teaspoon of sugar in. Temperature has gone down, so I'm going to try to stir it to kind of speed up the cooling process. It's at 113 right now. A little bit of stirring and we're just below 110, if you guys can even read that. So now we're going to add the yeast. All right, so I'm going to add about a tablespoon, or teaspoon rather, of yeast into the mixture. And then we're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes and let it get nice and foamy. Stir it up a little bit and then let it do its thing. Okay, while the yeast is doing its thing, we're going to take 4.5 cups of flour, put it in the bowl, and we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of salt in, and then we're just going to kind of whisk it and bring it all together. Again, this is just kind of waiting for the yeast to do its thing in the water. Okay, there it is, 4.5 cups of flour, a tablespoon of salt, or teaspoon rather. Let's make sure we get that right. This recipe actually came from a coworker, Kelly. His family brought this across, I believe, from Germany. So we're going to do this, and I'll show you guys the yeast here after I'm done to see how frothy it is. All right, there it is. Nice and frothy. And by the way, for the flour, I am using all-purpose flour. You can use bread flour. Here we go. Let's say this again. All right, here it is. Nice and foamy. I want to go back to this. This is actually all-purpose flour. You can use bread flour from everything that I've heard online. But that's what I had in the house, so that's what we're going to use. So now we're going to put everything into our KitchenAid mixer here. One of the things I looked at the recipe, it says a 1/4 cup of yeast with, or a 1/4 cup of water with the yeast. So I might have made too much. So I'm going to pour a 1/4 cup of this frothy yeast into the mixing bowl here, and we'll see if that's enough, because the recipe is kind of a little misleading in how much water I have to add, but we're going to find out. We'll take a look at it as we mix it. Definitely recipe is misleading, so I think what I got to do is add a 1/4 cup. I'm trying to make a recipe. We still got time on that. I just changed up the water to make it was it in there?
I'm not gonna do it.
Do what?
Make it. I'm just gonna make it.
Pour out the water. You don't want it?
No, I think I'm taking out the silly at 2 o'clock.
No. Well then, you're gonna refreeze that?
What should I do?
I don't know. What are you doing? Well, you're not gonna have it tomorrow.
Can you freeze it?
Yeah, I would. Trying to think what I'm gonna do. What time is it? Oh, you're leaving soon. This recipe came from a coworker, and it's misleading. What's that? All right, I tried that 1/4 cup. Definitely needs to add more. If you take a look, so they have like this random mention of 1 quart of water, which is 4 cups of water. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to add 4 cups of, we'll call it room temperature water, to the mixture. And then we'll see how it goes. Alright, we got a third of a cup here. I'm going to put about a half of that in there. And then mix it up and see what happens. Put it on medium with the dough hook. So I'm going to let this run for about 5 minutes. I might add just a little bit more flour. There we go, it's starting to come together. Alright, I think we're good. Alright, so I added about a third of a cup of extra flour on there. So I'm going to have to talk to my co-worker Kelly and see what I was doing wrong with the recipe initially. So I'm going to pause it here. We'll see it in a couple minutes. Okay, I think we got it pretty good right now. Take a look at that. So now we're just going to let it sit, and for about 20 minutes we'll cover in saran wrap. And next step. Alright, there's our dough. We are going to put it out onto the surface and make pretzel shapes. They're probably going to be ugly. And then we're going to place them on the parchment. And in the meantime, I did heat up the oven. It's to 400 degrees. So let's see how we do. Alright, so we got the dough out. And we're going to take and cut little pieces. And then I have just a little bit of flour here just to kind of keep my hands from sticking to the dough. And then you roll it out. Now again, I've never done this before, so I don't know if this is enough to make one, but shape it in a U. I don't know, maybe we'll just do this. This is the first one. I don't think I've grabbed enough. Alright, we're just going to make it a little circle, and then we put it on the parchment paper. So we're going to grab just a little bit more. See what happens here. Again, a little bit. Alright, this seems better. Kind of roll it out. Then you do it in a U. Maybe I gotta roll it out a little bit more. Almost seems like I need a bigger table. I do something about where you do this. Hey, look at that. Let's see if you guys can see it. Alright, cut it again. Flour. And then kind of roll it out. You wrap, and pinch. What do you think? I think you guys get the point. Alright, I'm getting a little bit better at this. Still don't know, doing it 100% right, but you cross, and you cross again, and you give them like a little pinch. That's actually probably one of my better looking ones right there. Oh, I didn't want to do that, it just went out of my hands. I didn't want to put more flour on it. Grab it, make it a U, wrap once, wrap twice, give it a little pinch. Oh. See, it's a little sticky, so do that. And that is Yoda. A little bit longer. Alright, this is going to be a funky looking guy, right? Handmade. So the recipe says it makes, forget how many. Let me see. 36 to 48. Right now I got about 9. So maybe I'm making these a little bit bigger than what they do. I have no idea. This one's going to be a little funky too. That's all right. Make some crispy spots and not crispy. So I'm going to get the 12 initially done here. Trying not to push too much, put too much pressure on it. Oh, yeah, they touched. All right, here's the masterpieces. Not the best work, but got a total of 12, 15, 18, 22. So not too bad. Did a couple sticks to see if anyone likes that. Did the regular ones. I made some circle guys just to see kind of what everyone kind of likes. So next step. All right, part number 3, whatever you want to call part number here. We need to create the bath that creates that characteristic brown for pretzels. So what you need to do is you take 2, this is actually going to be 4 cups, not 2, 4 cups of very cold water. And then 1 teaspoon, tablespoon of hold on one second, I gotta find it. I'll look at half, or that's what we'll be stuck with. We're using food grade lye or sodium hydroxide. The key is to make sure that it is food grade. This is why I am wearing my gloves. It is a caustic material, so you want your water to be in a glass bowl, and then you put in your lye. Now this will heat up the water, and you want to use either stainless steel or plastic that can handle high heat. So you just stir this until the lye is dissolved. Again, wear gloves because this can burn you. So I just put down some additional parchment paper because your next step is to take the pretzels and put them into the solution for about a minute. And having the gloves does help to avoid you from touching, again, this chemical treated water. So you leave them in there for about a minute. Actually, what we're going to do is we're actually going to start a clock, a kitchen timer. We'll do, how many do we have? We do 10 minutes. But it's mainly just for us to kind of watch the duration. And then what you need is a slotted spoon, something similar to this, to pick them up and then re-put them back onto the parchment paper. So everyone online said that the water actually gets warm. I don't know, I'm not feeling it. And then when you're done doing all this, the key for this is to safely move it to your sink and add water to it and help to dilute the lye in there so that then you can put it down the drain and not cause any damage. All right, it's been a little over a minute, so we'll put them down again. That gonna try to get them to drizzle. That lye is gonna give it a nice characteristic color. So let's put 3 more in. We are about 8:22, so. And again, we have that oven preheating at 400 degrees, and then you bake it for 20 minutes. After you do that, after you do get it all going, we do have coarse salt. So let me go grab the salt. I'll find it. Here, we did. I got pretzel salt from Amazon, and I got the lye as well from Amazon. So 8:22, I'm getting. All right, perfect. 1 minute. It. And before they dry, we'll put the salt on here. We'll put the next 3 on. Actually, we'll probably be able to do all of them here. Do 1, 2, 3. Put those guys in there. In the meantime, we're just going to sprinkle some salt on them. Seems like a little bit too much, but you can. If I put too much on here, then you could just probably brush them off. All right. Another 15 seconds, and these will be done, and then we'll start the other ones. All right. I wonder why it's getting a little bit cloudy. guys really need to see. Repeat, rinse and repeat. All right, here they are. Salted and ready to go in. I'm going to double rack, put them in the oven on 2 separate racks and for 10 minutes, and then flip them on the level that they're at, and then put them in for another 10 minutes. There you go, they're done. All right, so they're not deep brown, kind of goldenish. I screwed up with the amount of lye. I only put 1 teaspoon of lye in that mixture. I should have done 1 tablespoon. So we're gonna try this again and see how it turns out. Well, not right now, but we're gonna do it again. That's it. All right, I ate that guy. It tastes pretty good. Just the color's off. So try it again. It was good.